Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 140. As always, I'm in the booth with the big three. Michael, the show, Pirelli. Claudio, the voice, Valenzuela. And I am Dave, the body, Regina. Michael's banging his head on the microphone before. We were talking about lack of sleep, which is it's a real, for lack of a better word, shitty thing that happens, right?
and a part of it too was my fidgeting. I'm trying to fidget more because it burns more cows. I'm back on the burning cows.
I'm trying to fidget more. I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
I'm trying to fidget more?
Well, neat, right? What's neat? The
neat?
Yeah, you know what does that stand for? Do you know? I
Neat?
forgot. It's non-exercise activity something.
No.
Does anyone know what neat is? I'll Google it.
Comment below.
It's basically you burn the majority of your calories when you're not working out. You should work out, but throughout your day, because it's a much bigger portion percentage-wise, if you stay active, you burn way more calories just going about your day. Well, if you have good habits, right?
Yes,
if you have shit habits, you're not doing it.
That's true.
Right? So like
Gotcha.
Marshalls yesterday, I was looking for some, I love Marshalls, right?
Catch
I mean,
a
it's
good-
not the best, but sometimes you catch
good
a deal,
deal,
right? Very rare they have my size. Maybe not you, you're a freak. No offense, but like you're unique, right? Taylor's worst nightmare. We've talked about this.
You're unique.
For me, I'm very generic size-wise. Like, how many guys do you know that are 6'2"-ish, like, you know, about 220, right? 215, a ton. Like, it's a very average height. Shoe
Okay,
size,
Michael.
very average.
Michael, you just said average. 6'2" is not average height, and a size 13 shoe or 12 shoe is not average.
For people buying clothes, I have a short torso. Pardon my the whistle. I have a short torso, so I'm in more of like the 5'10" range for like clothing, but my arms are long.
Yes.
So I hate fashion because nothing fits right. Because
Gotcha.
either the shoulders are good, but then the sleeves I look like Pee Wee Herman, right?
But if you just wear it with confidence, then nobody knows.
That's
You know
fine,
what I'm
but I
saying?
know it looks terrible. You know what I mean? So like I'm aware of it. So I'm like, this sport coat just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And part of it is, yes, I've shrunk clothes. I know Dana's shrunk clothes. My parents have shrunk. Everyone's shrunk clothes. I can't not shrink clothes. And then the nice clothes I get, I fluctuate in weight too much. So it's
Right.
been a love affair with these friggin' clothes that I can't get a hold of because I just want nice, crisp white shirts. I want some nice sport coats and some nice pants and not to think about it and
Yep.
stress out about like what matches with what. Because you have go-to outfits, as we know, right?
Yeah,
Hey, Mike, never forget. It's all about wearing it with confidence.
that's right.
I disagree. I disagree.
That's
No, it-
verbatim.
I've
right
seen
there.
some.
Honestly,
That's
Can
verbatim.
we believe
right
that? I've seen some
there.
assholes wearing clothes and
you're
be
like,
like,
went
"You're
right over
very
his, by the
confident, but
way.
you look like shit."
Went right over his head.
no,
Not-
it didn't
not
go over
him.
my head.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh. But speaking of that, though, CV mentioned another one yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. I didn't know that. So I've always, I'm like, man, stop eavesdropping on me.
Ooh, yep.
But it's
That's not it.
Eve's.
That's not it.
Eva's,
That should be a
dropping.
segment. That's not
CV
it.
CV is the. That's not it. CV is the big intellect.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I don't know how long 33 years now. I've been eavesdropping on mother.
Yeah, don't get it twisted though. For a while, I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Until somebody corrects you, you're like, oh.
Yeah, but
Oh,
when you
that's
said
what
that
it
the
is.
other day, I was like, wow, I really
Do you
deliver with
correct
confidence.
people in
the ease.
like I correct you because we're friends and like I think it's funny, but I will never correct someone.
Oh,
in
I look at people
conversation.
like they're
Do you?
stupid. Oh, all the time.
I don't correct them.
All the time. I mean, honestly, when people talk sometimes, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
But then I do the same thing, but I just keep going.
Yeah,
You know?
I
Like,
kinda
if you
just run
don't
with
even
it.
acknowledge it, you just keep going. I think that's the skill.
When people throw words out I don't know, I
Yeah.
kind of like think and I'm like, should I ask him what that means or just Google it? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Google it while we're talking
Right.
and get it.
Something ironic happened today. A dude at the gym spoke to me.
Oh, another one.
And
Who's hitting on you now?
No, it wasn't hitting on me, but he said, yo, man, how's the podcast going? I said, great. I'm actually headed over there now. And he's like, how long did it take you to get comfortable in front of like the camera and a microphone? I'm like, honestly, I don't even think we're still comfortable. We're 140 episodes in, but I
Yeah.
think you just go with confidence, right?
Yeah.
Just fake it, man. You know?
Amen. Yeah.
But no, I think when and I was explaining to him because he's a younger dude. He's like 24-ish. And he was saying that he wants to, start doing some content, but he's super embarrassed of like, the camera and he said there's nobody there recording, but he just has a light. He has the phone on a tripod or whatever. And I told him, obviously it's just repetition.
Did you tell him what I tell people? No one cares.
No one cares.
Just put it up. No one cares. Yeah.
No one cares. No one listens to you. No. So I basically told him, listen, obviously through repetition, you get better. But what we like is it also fits in with our careers.
Yes.
Right. So it's just a skill
complementary.
Set. Right.
It's not there's effort, but it's not like, what's a good word? It's cohesive with everything.
Right.
Yeah. It's like in our wheelhouse. We're not talking about like, fitness and we never work out type of thing. I mean, some of us.
Oh, man. Yo, man, I missed you, Marky. So Marky and I went we went to the cigar lounge on the west side.
Oh, so that was a lounge.
Well, it's called Merchant's Cigar Bar. Great recommendation, by the way. Upper West Side, New York City.
Tell him Dave sent you.
That's right. Tell him Dave smoked it.
They're gonna be like, who? That's the best.
No, they're gonna know me. I rolled in with a nice mink. Nice mink.
Well, that's actually genius because
Nice
you're like, you ever watch American Gangster? I know you're not a movie guy.
I haven't seen that one.
Have you seen it? Oh, you did?
Haven't seen.
But he gets Frank White. He gets found out because he's rocking minks around town.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So as soon as we walked in, they were like, there's a 2-hour time limit.
Excuse me?
Right.
If I walk into a place and you give a time limit to me and we're not in COVID times, I'm leaving.
Well,
were you pissed?
Because it's a
Did
small.
you say you know who I am?
Well, it's a smaller lounge. So then hour 2 came by, and they were like, "Hey, you guys like finishing up?" I'm like, I got half a stogie left. I'll probably be here another
Dave
hour
lights
and
a
a half.
new one.
I'll probably be here another hour and a
He's
half.
like-
They were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
They just kept it moving.
He has a friggin' massive.
We literally had a 7:30 reservation. We didn't leave till 11.
He lights a Churchill.
But it's very.
But if you're spending money,
that was my thing.
what are we doing?
Good prices though too, man. They had this Macallan flight, which was 3 different Macallans, right? Which is my favorite Scotch. They had a Macallan 12, a Macallan 15, and a Macallan 18 for $50. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
3, it's 1 ounce pours, 1.5 ounce pours, I guess.
Yeah.
But those are expensive liquors, and then they had a tequila one too, which was great.
Brother Bill loves good tequila flight.
Oof.
Fun fact.
But their prices, I really recommend that spot. Make the reservation though in advance, and if they tell you 2 hours, just stay an extra hour and a half because they didn't say anything though. So
Yeah.
and there was a line out the door.
That's hilarious. And they're all looking at you and
I'm
they're
like,
like,
that's my
you
mink.
know
I
what?
don't
You know what was happening behind the scenes?
What?
The bouncer's like, "You want to go talk to him? No, you talk to him. I'm not doing that tonight. You see how big that dude is? How much do you think he benches? 6 donuts."
Yo, all right. Talk to me about Johnny Bonesy Jonesy.
Oh, unbelievable!
I'm not gonna lie, I won a little bread.
Did you put money on it?
That night.
I was gonna bet on it, but
that night, I was feeling a little nice.
that's the best time to bet.
I know. So I had already made my bet, right?
Isn't betting on
and
UFC the best?
I went John Jones by submission.
How mad would you be if he ground and pounded him into oblivion?
That would have sucked. So anyway, I take Mark's phone because Marky loves, a little sports bet.
Yeah.
And I saw him looking, and I said, John Bones Jones by submission.
Yep.
And he was like, how much? I'm like,
All
here
of it.
you go. Here you go. And he was like, are you serious? And I'm like, I don't know. I did it, and I just feel really, really good about it. Then the next morning, I wake up, I saw Drake put like a $2.5 million bet in on the same thing. So
On
I'm like,
Jones?
oh, we're good. By submission, though.
Yeah, but he's got a curse usually with
Who,
UFC.
Drake?
Yeah.
No, he's pretty good
No,
pretty good.
lately,
on stakes.
yeah, because that's his promotion.
Right.
Genius. He's one of the best at that. He just kind of does stuff,
Casually betting a couple milli.
but for him it's nothing, and then Stake gets all his promote. It's genius.
Yeah, it is.
And he gets paid out anyway. They probably give him the money to bet.
Yep. Yeah, no, good
free
fight, man.
promotion.
And did you see that
Well, it's not free, but
he hired David Goggins actually to train with him too.
so here's
That
my
was
thing
dope.
with Jones. I think he's full of it. I
Really?
think he's full of it. Yeah.
But what do you mean?
I mean, his history is so checkered. I'm not saying people can't change,
Mhm.
but the way he talks about stuff, it just looks fake. I don't
Yeah,
know if
yeah.
it's the way, you know how it's
I
like,
got you.
it seems too rehearsed.
Yes.
You know how people criticize like Jeter,
Yes.
like he's too perfect. He's not too perfect, but the way he came back and it's all about like, no, I'm humble now, this and that. Where
Yeah.
originally he was, I personally like the people with the edge and the people who have the issues.
Mhm.
Like, just be yourself. I know it's not healthy for him, but entertainment wise, when someone comes up and they're not cordial and they're
Yep.
talking shit to people,
Yes.
that's what I like.
You like that?
Like, I like the drama of the fighting and the guy saying, listen, I'm going to take you down and I'm going to submit you because you're weak. He did a little bit.
He used to do that a lot.
Well, he did in the
Yeah.
post conference.
Right.
He Stipe Miocic, which is just like a man's man,
He's
firefighter.
beast,
He's a
though.
beast.
He's a beast.
Like he said, I hope you're in the gym training and stop, quit being a fireman because you're going to need it. And I love that. Like calling
You're
someone
a
out.
fireman too, aren't you?
And then, I'm a fireman. And Ngannou tweeted something like
He's a
good
beast, too.
win,
Imagine
Johnny
kicked
Bones.
by him. Oh,
I think Jones would beat him up though because they'll just take him down, and submit him.
I don't know. You get one kick by Ngannou, it's over.
Well, punch too. Like he'll put you into another
but still,
universe.
these legs.
I love it.
I'm really fearful of these legs. When I look at these legs.
Oh yeah.
And if I were to see one of those coming right at my nose,
Yeah.
I might just fall out myself. I'm not
It's
trying to get kicked by those.
I have to say, it's probably the most entertaining thing. Like, I'd rather watch UFC than probably any sporting event, just because you can have two no names, and it'd be worth a watch because it's a crazy fight or like someone pulls a crazy move.
Yeah.
Like you can have it on the background of a party, and then someone catches your eyes, and it makes it so. I don't know. It's bad. I mean, it's not healthy. These people, when they lose, it's not good.
I know. No, tough sport.
Do you
but
think you'd ever do a UFC fight?
Actual fight like
Or
that?
like a
No,
real.
I can't afford to have my nose any more crooked than it is.
It might knock
you
it
know?
straight.
It might knock it straight, actually.
It might be free a nose job. Imagine that was your nickname, Dave, the nose job. Regina.
Oh my god.
So yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I fell asleep though. I didn't watch it live because it's late.
Yeah, no, I had it on my iPad. I was like, and then he knocked him out. I just saw the replays.
Yeah, that was quick. I also thought the
Round one. I wasn't expecting.
Cyril
that.
Gane was defeated before I even got in there.
Yeah.
What I like about betting on the UFC, and I'm not saying I do it, but I think there's an opportunity to figure out people's psychology. And if
Yes.
you watch all the lead up stuff, in hindsight, when you watch it, it's very clear that like Gane was just happy to be there, and he wasn't trying to win the fight, and he was way too gave him too much credit, and this could be all false, but you would think you can kind of see trends. If people are at the weigh-ins and they're super quiet, or like they can't make eye contact with the guy, like I think there's some psychology that you could dive into and then get an edge on the betting.
Well, I think that's why it was smart by Jones, because he brought in Goggins to do that piece. And
mental
I mean,
part of
Jones doesn't need that. I think he's already been at that stage.
Yeah, it's impressive how
multiple
humble
times.
he is.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think other things probably have gone on in his life that he hasn't shared that caused that.
Yeah.
But I think that was genius, man. You hire somebody like David Goggins to be in your camp. Did you see the reaction of Goggins when he knocked him out?
Wild.
That was pretty cool behind Rogan. Yeah, I like that.
You know what's scary? I thought if Goggins ever got into a UFC fight.
Yeah, I know. He'll probably get fucked up though.
Yeah, he'd probably get tapped out, but keep going.
Yeah.
It's not over. It's not over, son. You don't know me.
Speaking of
it's
Rogan,
like, David, you lost.
Yeah, I don't know if
Losing's a mentality. I'm winning. He just
but
knocked out Rogan.
I did it with real confidence.
What?
Did I tell you about this with Rogan? No, so
Rogan?
I was talking to somebody about the podcast,
Met Joe Rogan?
and I was on my way to record a podcast, and they're like, "Oh, whose podcast?" I'm like, "Joe Rogan's," and they were like, I knew you were gonna finally get there, and I'm like, "Wait, did you really think that I was being serious about Joe Rogan?"
Yeah. I'm not saying it's impossible. He's had people on that have followings but are very obscure.
Yes.
And he's just interested in it.
Mhm.
So maybe he sees us building our outdoor bars and he's like, well, let me see.
Or he's like, "That guy has a crooked nose. Let's talk to him."
What the hell happened in his life that's nose so crooked? Or he mistakes you for someone, you get on? That'd be pretty funny.
Very funny. What else was interesting this week, man? Callie tried a hot wing. That was hilarious.
I saw that.
That was actually funny. But she, I know Livy's the same way right now. They think they could do any and everything, and they have extreme confidence. So Callie's like, she didn't realize that I was taking the hot piece off, right, like the skin, and then I was giving her the chicken, and she was like, I like it. So she was eating that piece.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hot. She was dipping it in the blue cheese, but I was taking the skin off. Right. So then she's like, I want to do it. Don't break it. I'm like, here you go, girl. Pull my phone out. Let's get this reaction.
Yeah.
And the reaction was very funny.
It is priceless. What's a good word? They're zest for life. Like everything is theirs, or they want this, they want that. It's so funny because clearly everything's starting to click.
Yes.
So they're just overwhelmed with excitement.
Yep.
And that's why I think they have those high and lows.
Yep.
Because they just get so fired up about everything.
Right,
it's
right.
hilarious. It's very fun to watch.
It is. Good. I saw your hole in your backyard is looking good.
Is it looking good?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Listen.
Home Miguel.
The best is I'm tagging my Sistine Chapel, and people are responding like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What is it? It's clearly
The best
an
is when you're
outdoor bar."
when you're visualizing, and it's a plot of land with a nice fence. I like the fence though. I'm serious. It looks good.
So, being what's a good word? I've been forced to get more creative and do things more on my own because of the lack of money to throw around because of starting these new ventures, right?
I was gonna figure out how you're gonna say that, but basically you were saying like, all right, because I'm broke right now.
Well,
I need to.
Here's the thought: you can't
very good.
rationalize dumping a ton of money into like an
Yes.
outdoor bar when you have all these other things you got to take care of as
Right.
far as like the business, the house, all-
Family, yeah.
you know, we don't have TVs in certain rooms because I'm too stubborn to like go out and buy one.
Yep.
So I can't rationalize myself of, I'm still spending money on the bar, but not
Put
crazy.
an iPad on the wall, call it a TV. Take a tablet.
That's what I
you
do.
know what I'm saying?
That's what I do. Small one, but it's TV.
Right.
Any screen's really a TV. If
Absolutely.
you mount it, right? It's just a phone, just TV time. No, but it's progress. It's slow and steady. When spring rolls around, I'm looking to make a nice push. I am a little conscious of like being out there and the neighbors see me because they've made a couple comments where I'm like kind of dissecting it. Like she said, oh, one of the neighbors is like, oh, so many fences.
What are you doing?
And I didn't know what she meant. And then the husband was like, you ever need help with anything? Which sometimes mean like, I don't want you to do it or I want to see what you're doing. So part of me is like, mind your own business. You know, let me do what I want over here. Huh?
Drive by?
No, they're in my backyard.
No,
But
you want me
they're
to do
very
a
nice.
drive by?
I don't want to kill them.
No, I'll come out with a mink on.
I don't want to scare them to
I'll
death.
do the mink. Hey, don't talk to Mikey, all right?
Yeah. But no, they're very nice. And but that's why the privacy fence is going up because they ripped out a bunch of bushes. And I no longer have any privacy, which is fine. They put in some other ones that should grow in like 5-10 years. I don't have 5-10 years, you know? But I don't have 5-10 years,
Yeah.
right? Like this bar's got to go up and meow. Stoicism, it's playing in my head. I'm trying to be more patient, but one of their big sayings is like, you could be great today, yet you choose to be good tomorrow. And that keeps rerunning in my head whenever I try to procrastinate now. Certain things I procrastinate where they're not like mandatory, but even like not doing something tonight and doing it in the morning, now I keep hearing that and it's annoying me, but I think it's been effective.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw. So one of the DMs actually said, "Wow, he's such a stoic," because I took a clip
Me
that
or you?
you that you prefaced.
That's good clipping.
Every episode you say stoicism,
Yeah.
and then you like get into a theory.
Yeah.
Like, so I cut where you said stoicism, and I basically made it seem like it's your theory,
Oh,
right? And I
nice.
posted it as a clip, and
Yeah.
somebody was like, "Wow, he's such a stoic," but I don't know if they're fucking with me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, they
Like,
definitely are.
They know what I did.
I assume now everyone's sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then you know, because I'm
They're
like, they're
good
probably
podcast.
sarcastic.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
100%.
100%.
So we talked about last time, but like I'm adopting, and this kind of goes with the theme. I'm adopting Ryan Holiday as my therapist / philosophy coach. So now,
He doesn't know it though.
not only he knows
He
because
knows
I'm all up in those DMs. No, I'm not. I'm not. So I will. As if I would call someone to consult. I now tee up a video if I need a little reset throughout
Yep.
the day, and he's got these short clips which are like 5 minutes long, where it doesn't ruin your whole. You don't get out of your groove. You just kind of reset and then get back to the next thing. So I found it very helpful. In addition to starting the day with him, checking in with him if I get a little overwhelmed or off task.
Yep.
And then in addition, I've started to listen to his audiobooks. His first one, I've read The Obstacle is the Way, which is good. It's basically the mindset of like challenges they're gifts to get you to be better, because if you don't have any type of challenge, you don't have an opportunity to get better. If it's too easy, you're not going to get as good, right? If you're playing basketball against a team and you're blowing them out by 20 every week, you're going to get worse. So that was a good book. And now this one I'm listening to is called Ego is the Enemy. And it's been pretty good. It's, again, talking about how you have to be a student at all times and not think, even if you are superior in knowledge of a subject, the other person always has something to provide.
Yes.
And if you're thinking of it more as learning versus like if you have the lens of every day you're trying to just learn and just try to learn things and improve, then it gets a lot easier versus if you're thinking like I have everything figured out and now I'm defending that I have everything figured out.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That's great point. Good recommendation too on the books.
Yeah. It's on YouTube for free if you just Google.
But seriously,
Ego is
no.
the
I
Enemy
think
audiobook.
people should take advantage of that stuff because it's been very powerful in my life. Just throwing something. Literally, the second that I wake up, though, I just throw something in the ear, and you go about your morning routine, but you just have something playing in your ear, and you don't have to get anything. Do what you want to do, not maybe what Mike wants to do, what Dave wants to do. Do what works, for you.
Mind pollution is a real thing.
What is it?
Mind pollution.
Mind
right? Like,
pollution.
noise pollution?
Yes.
Like how they talk about that? I've been very conscious lately of like, you go into an office and you're meeting with someone and on the TV is the news and you get hit with like negative info. And then you put on the radio for a second, you get hit with more negative info. And then one of your friends hits you with like, can you believe this? And a notice pops up. So I've been real conscious of like trying to manage the input and try to control it by overwhelming with positive input, or at least stuff that I want to know about versus just what everyone else wants me to know about.
Genius, yeah.
Which is, you don't want to be naive to the point where you don't know what's going on in general, but I think 90% of the stuff that we consume throughout the day, you don't really need to know.
Right. Yeah, another good hack though with that stuff, because it can get overwhelming. And I used to take the wrong approach where I would try to consume everything.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm consuming everything and then trying to like articulate it back. Like really all I need to do now, and this is a focus of mine, is if I listen to, 28 minutes of Joel in the morning, I need one sentence. One takeaway. That's it. I strive for one takeaway. And think about that. That compounded over time, right? 7 takeaways on a week is pretty damn good versus me just trying to listen in and trying to like take everything in. Now the focus is listen to the message.
Yeah.
Try to hone in on one thing that you can take away from it versus taking the entire thing,
Yeah. And not having too many conflicting coaches or influences or kind of, I'm not saying you have to stay with the person forever, but like consciously thinking about, all right, well, my philosophy now, I'm going to kind of follow what Ryan Holiday does because I like his approach and I like what he's built.
Yeah.
I like this fitness influencer. I like how they go about their life. I'm going to follow them specifically.
You like the way he does pull-ups?
He's not for me, that guy. No, but yeah, like I've ran into the issue of watching like a big boy who's all about just heavy weight and just like a lifestyle of not unhealthy, but it's not like the most refined.
Right.
And then I've watched like C-Bum where it's completely different. And then another guy who's a boxer. And I'm like, I need to kind of figure out my lane, because I like it all.
I know. That's very you, though.
Yeah.
That's very you. Just consume it all, and then one day you're a boxer, the next day you're a golfer.
100%.
It's very funny.
Well, I was literally going to say.
Yeah.
So this year I've been pretty good about staying on. I mean, AC's my trainer, right? I got my philosophical coach in Ryan Holiday. And then for the real estate side, I follow a couple real estate. You can do a couple because there's so many different avenues. But I do Bigger Pockets. This kid Tyler Cobble who does commercial, and then this other guy who does commercial. So it's like 3 guys.
Right.
So I've been really conscious of like not getting too excited and all over the place, and very thoughtful of, all right, well, I have a really big vision for things, but I can't get wrapped up in the vision and ahead of myself and put the cart before the horse in kind of promoting all this stuff before I figured it out.
It's a good one.
You've never heard that saying?
Put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good, Michael.
I am the horse, if you're wondering.
Very good, very good.
So it's been big growth. Big growth coming along.
Speaking of growth, CV.
Tell me where we get that protein.
No, not yet.
That was good, though. That was
not
good
yet, yeah. Not yet, though.
We can
Speaking
go
of
to
growth,
not yet.
Shoulders?
We got a big.
Oh, you're asking TV.
Where do we get
Yes.
our protein?
We had a big. No. Before we get to the protein.
What treadmill do you
The
use?
big
Because
update.
I think you got to shout it out, because if you're 4.5 to 5 in a walk on this thing, it must be of the highest caliber.
Right.
What
no,
kind of
so
treadmill
CV
is
hit us
it?
with a text message. When was that? A couple days ago.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah. So tell us about the update, man. And take this camera off of me. My chest is looking. Put it on both of us. Thank you.
The update. Ooh, what's out of focus?
Whoa.
What's going on?
Could mean there's a ghost in the room.
Yeah, that's true.
I've watched
That's
a lot
true.
of ghost hunting stuff.
So yeah, the update was there was a pound loss.
Okay.
After my
Clap it
win,
up. Clap it
so,
up.
you know.
Everybody
Do you know what
clap
part
it
of
up.
the
Let's
body
go.
it
Let's
came
go.
off of?
Right.
Is that a good question?
Yeah, that is good.
Definitely not my calves.
Okay.
That's
Wow,
good.
that was a jab right back. I hit him with a soft feint, and he just knocked me out with a hook. That hurts, CV.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
It's okay.
So
I'm just
1
kidding.
pound loss,
1
Proggy.
pound
That's-
loss.
that's
At least
Proggy.
it's in the right direction. And that's
You don't
really
sound very
Good.
enthused.
Yeah, really.
I know.
That text message. I mean, it's
Bad
very,
night-
he's
bad
very
night of sleep.
funny.
So
Because
short-
when he gets going,
Sounds similar.
yeah, absolutely.
Me and CV are
you guys get
kindred spirits.
hyped. You guys get extremely
short
hyped.
story. I had a bad night. I didn't really sleep, so I'm super groggy. I apologize. The energy is not 100% there. I even had cold coffee. That's because my coffee got cold. That's
It's
how
a cold
bad.
shower season.
You don't have one of these Yeti spaghettis?
It's a cold shower. You should
Well,
be
it was the morning thing. I don't know. I was not working very well, but there was a lot. I didn't even work. I punted today. I didn't even work out.
Oh, don't point.
'cause it
You
was,
can't
you
point
know,
at me and say punt anymore, because I don't punt
wasn't.
anymore.
I was
You guys
my
are
hand
hilarious.
gestures. Were
It's
getting
killing me right now.
ahead of me. So I'm hoping to get back
All
on
right,
it
so we're a
tomorrow.
pound down, though.
Yeah,
Pound
I mean,
down.
it sounds positive.
I mean, the eating. So this is what I did change.
Here we
and
go.
there
Here's
was
the excitement.
there was a change, because I know that prior to that conversation that we had, I was still eating somewhat decent. I think I said 60-40. I was still working out every single day, so that was still positive. The intensity of my workouts were still pretty high, but the weight had been coming on. So obviously my eating in the 40% was probably not good at all. It was pretty bad. So that's what I changed. I started prepping my dinners, or I shouldn't say my wife, my beautiful wife.
Shout out.
Big shout out. So she's prepped
I saw her the other day,
lunches. Yeah, she told
Yeah, she
me.
looked good. She looks better than 60-40, I must say. She's doing.
She's way better than me.
I think
When I tell you my 40 is bad, my 40 is bad, bad. So I've tried not to snack anymore at night. So it's just my prep dinners, which is controlled. And at the end of the day, it's all about the portion control. So I think that was the what helped the 1 pound loss. The weekend wasn't as great because, as always, the weekend brings exciting things, and with exciting things comes exciting food, and
It's a great saying.
Very funny.
The exciting things
Yeah.
come with the same food.
Well, now
I got to ask,
Go ahead.
though, before we get too into this, I was curious because I found a couple sauces and like hack things
Okay.
that I think are really helpful to people, and took me a long time to get to them because there's a lot of junk you have to sift through. That's like they market it as healthy, but it's not really healthy.
like Dave's Killer Bread. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Literally, like, we'll kill you.
it was a wreck.
Do you remember that debacle?
Yeah.
I was
He
like,
was like,
yeah,
wait,
I
this
mean,
bread
these-
sucks.
I'm eating these bagels. They're great for you. This and that. And I'm like, this has more calories.
Good name though.
So like for you guys, I'm gonna share two, and then I'm just curious if there's like your top. Maybe I'll hit you with a third because there's three staples that I swear by now that are like, yes, maybe it's not perfect for a diet, but it's something that when you incorporate it, the ease of use of it, I think helps with retention more than anything, which is the ultimate goal.
Retention
anyway.
of the habit.
The diet, the
I like
way,
that.
the
Okay.
lifestyle. So sugar-free teriyaki from GU's to marinate and then top chicken. Can't go crazy, but it's like 5 calories for like 2 teaspoons. So it's like very reasonable.
I would have to see the other ingredients. In
Well, I'm going to show you. I don't have the ingredients on me, but that's GU's. See a picture of him. He's
yes.
trustworthy.
Oh no, I like him.
You know him?
I like him.
You know him?
He actually reposted us one time because I tagged him in
Young
one
G?
of our stuff. Yeah.
I'll post this too.
Good
And
guy.
then sriracha hot sauce so it's not the actual sriracha. It's the sriracha that's like the knockoff. So it's I don't know
Sriracha from Chinatown, basically.
basically. But sriracha just in general is like an unbelievable hack. Throw it on chicken thighs. It's
Yep.
incredible.
Very good.
And then I will say chicken thighs is one of my biggest things because I don't love chicken breasts and I've fought through it before. But you can make chicken thighs ahead of time. And then when you reheat it in like an air fryer, it's still juicy, which has been big.
Yes, that's good.
And if you cook stuff with like a base of even just everything sriracha chicken prep, you can use the sugar-free teriyaki like to switch up the taste a little bit. And it's just hot teriyaki.
That's good.
So it's been a nice like twist. The last one I'll share is there's Joseph's pita bread, which is basically 60 calories for 6 grams of protein. It's a lot of fiber. They have different stuff. So there's some that aren't that good in the ratios, but you need to get the flax whole wheat one. And it tastes very similar to a pita. And it's something that like, if I want a little something, a little energy before a workout, I'll just hammer a pita. It's 60 calories.
That's good.
And it just feels like you're eating something. Maybe I'll throw a little honey on it to give me a little like treat. It's a little sweet. And I've used it instead of like if I'm going to have a taco night and instead of having my rice on the side, I'll just have a couple pita breads as like a taco. Unbelievable.
Good
It's very
recce,
versatile.
man.
You like that?
That's very good. I
Those
like
were
that.
because I was thinking
Those are your
today,
go-tos.
it's taken me, how long have I been on this podcast just bullshitting
years.
about diet? How many? 3 years?
3 years. Yeah.
And there's been
1,000-calorie kid.
and there's not a lot of things that stuck along, right? My abs have disappeared for a little bit. The calves are completely gone. But the Joseph's flatbread, the GU's teriyaki, and the sriracha hot sauce are still with me, baby.
Those are good. I like.
We're like the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
And chicken thighs.
I can't. Well, so you lost me halfway through because as soon as my man said chicken thighs, I'm thinking to myself, well, you are what you eat.
Chicken thighs.
You are what you eat. You got
Well,
chicken.
you got to hit that at that time. That's
Right,
perfect.
I know, but I didn't want to interrupt you because you were really in the.
You better start looking for some chicken calves.
I know. But that was like, oh, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And you know when you want to interrupt, but I'm like,
Oh.
damn, what he's saying is really good. I want people to hear it. But the whole fucking
You
time,
have
I'm
much
thinking,
better willpower.
I'm thinking chicken thighs, and you squatting with the chicken fucking
pretty
thing there. It's very funny. No, well, that'll lead us to instead of pita bread, can we talk protein, please?
Well, wait. I want to hear your recommendations. Don't go into the
What?
protein yet.
What?
Do you have any like? I know you're not supposed to eat processed stuff, but like Oiko's 000 yogurt or what? Like
I do.
stuff.
I do like the Oikos
But
triple zero.
what are your like? If you had to, if someone's coming to you and they're like, Dave, are there a couple things that I can get at a grocery store, the pre-made or whatever, that you like recommend that you like? That's been like a hack for you. Is there anything throughout the years?
No, I really tend to.
I love how you hits me with a.
I'm not big on the sauces. I mean, on my steak,
You're not a sauce guy.
I'm really not. I do a little olive oil. I do salt and pepper. I love garlic.
Me
I
too.
stick to like Whole Foods, honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
in my seasonings. You
I
know,
left myself. Yeah. Go ahead.
but even on my ground turkey, if I have a little bit of extra time, I just take a whole bunch of onions and peppers, a little oil, and I saute that.
I hate
it
ground
gives
turkey.
natural flavor. No, not the way
I go
make it.
93.7.
And Rayos.
beef.
Rayos is good. I like Rayos.
Here we go. Now
I
we're
like
getting
Rayos.
somewhere.
I do like Rayos, but that's the only sauce that I really put on.
So like
and then
dressings,
even my
you'll just
salads.
do a balsamic.
And you see my daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter's 2.5 years old, and she just crushes bags of salad with. We throw the dressing out,
Yeah.
and then we just do oil and balsamic.
Well, that's a good hack right there.
Yeah,
You get
absolutely.
the pre-made dressing, you just throw or the
Lemon
pre-made-
juice. I like
the pre-made kits, and you throw
basic.
the dressing out.
Yes.
I feel like it's a waste, so I usually save the dressings.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, but
I don't know.
Just toss it.
Can we please let them know where we get this protein?
Well, I wanted
at
to
now?
see if you got any diet hacks. They got to wait to hear about the protein. Are there any like staples you've had?
No, I mean,
I guess I'm the only person. You know,
Well,
here. What the,
so when I
can someone comment and help
when
me?
I finally get into like dialed in mode,
Yeah.
I can get very ironically, I can get robotic too. I've been eating the same thing for the last 2 years with the turkey and chicken, and the way Catherine makes it is almost like no salt, very low sodium, because she monitors her blood pressure.
Yep.
So I just kind of fell into that, right?
Nice.
I miss that sometimes because salt
Yeah.
really does give it a little bit of extra. And then it's just pepper and whatever other kind of whole food seasonings.
Cayenne is good.
Right, things like that.
know.
There's a
Old
lot
Bay
of
is a
onion
good one.
powder.
Old Bay
Onion
is very
powder.
versatile.
She does a lot of veggies inside, like she like chops up carrots and onions and things like that for the turkey when she makes it. But no, I mean it's literally been the same thing. That's why when the weekends come and whatever flavors come and touch my tongue, just
Touch my.
hey, you know what I mean?
Because you guys give me nothing on this segment, I'm gonna hit you with a couple appliance.
Oh, I got one.
recommendations
I got
real
one.
quick.
I got one for you. Just one.
Just three. Go
I
ahead.
got one.
Yeah.
Zero sugar or sugar-free Jello
Love
or
sugar-free Jell-O. Amen.
what's the other one? The
pudding.
pudding. Yeah.
Pudding.
Hell yeah.
Oh, the
You can
chocolate
throw a little
pudding's
protein in the
Which
pudding too. You
I'm
ever
not
do
gonna
that?
lie, I would fight. I was like, ew, no sugar.
I think it's
If I want
delicious.
to cheat,
Yeah.
I want to cheat. But
Yeah.
it's really not bad at all. So that's my rec.
French fry cutter I got. So I just get the potatoes and I just pop them
Yep.
through. I throw them in the air fryer. There's ways to make them like really good, but I think just the shape of a French fry mentally gives you like a trick.
Sweet
you know?
potatoes.
Because it's fries. Yeah, you can do sweet potato French fries. But the French fry cutter has saved me so much time, and I have a
You got to take a video of you doing that.
100%.
wanna
I've been
see it.
meaning to.
Yeah, I
Dana
wanna
gave
see
me
it.
shit when I bought it, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like cutting these fries is such a labor.
So you do that. Into
I
the
literally
air
just
fryer.
go bang,
bang, bang,
bang, and then what you do is you pre-cook them, and then when you reheat them like 5 minutes, bang, bang, done. And then it's on the side, you throw the chicken,
I like
and
that.
it gives you like a shawarma effect with the hot and the.
Shawarma?
You never had shawarma?
No.
All right. What I'm thinking about is getting one of those spits
A
that spins and
shawarma?
then you cut off the sides.
A spitz and a shawarma. What is that?
So French fry cutter.
what are we talking about?
All right,
here?
listen.
What
I'm
podcast
almost
is
done.
this?
Shrimp.
Shrimp.
French fry cutter, crucial. Rice cooker, because I used to burn my rice all the time. Set it and forget it, 20 minutes. Big bag of jasmine rice is like $5. I've been trying to get real lean on the cost as well.
Right.
Big bag of potatoes, $5. Big bag of rice, potatoes, daddy's tough. Air fryer, rice cooker, French fry cutter. You don't have
You're
another
good.
appliance. You don't need any other appliance in your arsenal.
Beautiful.
Oh, you know what else I've been doing? Cauliflower rice.
See, now it's coming. Now it's coming out. You got to
Well,
dig. I'm not a fan of cauliflower rice. I'll be honest. I
No,
think
it's not.
bullshit.
It is.
No, it's
but
good,
but
though.
it's
Yeah.
not.
It's good.
But it's not rice, and I love rice. I can pound like a whole pot of rice.
No, I'm kidding. I
Whereas
like
cauliflower rice, I'm like, oh yeah,
I do.
give me a portion that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yo.
Keep it moving.
All right. Well, tell me where we get this protein, CV.
Bang.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the Epi.
Let's talk a little topic.
Fuck it. We don't want it. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No, it's always good to give a nice random banter for us.
A ranter, if you will.
A ranter. Yes, but so today, episode 140, we basically want to talk about the concept of, I guess, continued education, professional development, the importance behind it, and the way that this all stems, just like everything else. You kind of, go along with your week, and we see like what's, what we're doing in our own lives. And on a professional level, I have brought in some of my staff and some of the team to basically try to give them a boost of confidence, a boost of motivation. Where we actually paid for some continued education for them. So that's how this kind of came about, and I think everybody can really benefit from it. And where it stems, though, and I think that we have to be, we were just talking about food, right? But there's very few work habits that you incorporate that really add to your whole lifestyle. And I think continued education and being strategic about constantly learning is something that's so important, and it leads into the other habits of your life, right? Like, I'm more likely to sit down with my meal prep and be at my desk while I'm reading something, in terms of professional development or personal, professional, whatever it is, and eat something healthy versus me like crushing McDonald's while I'm reading that stuff. And I don't know why, if that's just a me thing.
Sounds kind of nice.
No, I hear you. But that's how the topic came about. And I want to kind of pick your brain, go back and forth, because I think we have two different perspectives, because obviously I do it on an individual level, but now I'm also doing it with a team, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the best investment?
In yourself.
Amen.
Right.
Like, it's very simple. For me, my favorite is when I'm going through something where I need to learn, and then I'm forced to learn a topic, and then I'm able to learn it via YouTube, phone calls, asking questions, and then I'm able to apply it immediately.
Yes.
Because then it sticks for me. And I feel like I learn very fast when that's the case. And in my real estate world, it's very easy to do that because every deal is different, and there's so many nuances to deals that it's very rare where I'm going through a deal and I'm like, I don't know, or I know everything.
Yep.
Like, it's very humbling to be in the real estate world, because say you are working on a condo or a certain location, like, you have to learn everything about that new house. Every house is its own market. So you're constantly on the back heel of needing to learn constantly, right? I'm not saying you don't know anything. You know kind of the cadence of a deal, but you need to learn the dynamics of the actual product that you're trying to either sell or buy.
Right.
So that's something that has kind of made me a lot more curious and like ready to be a student in other areas of my life, because it's so intense in the real estate world.
Yeah, no.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I think, there's so many different forms, obviously, of, continued education. You got like conferences, you got seminars, workshops, books.
Can I give you my opinion on
podcast?
it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
No, well, because you sparked a thought. I'm not a fan of the 10 people in a room seminar type of thing. I think in today's day and age, give me what I want to know, and the interaction's great, and sometimes you can apply it and drill things. But I think there's a lot of wasted time in learning when people theorize too much and don't put anything in action.
Yes. I think it's a good way to get introduced to it,
Yes.
right? Like attending a conference or something like that. But yeah, I think the more job specific with the intention behind it, the better. Yeah. Which is exactly what we're doing on our team now. There's a certification that a couple of staff members are going after that costs hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
That basically, I truly believe that if you're not learning, right? You've heard the saying, if you're not learning, you're dying, which is a fact, because big scientist, right? The prefrontal cortex, which is your like creative learning space in your brain, it actually stops developing by the age of 25.
You're Abdullah Oblongata. You don't know what movie that is?
No, I don't. Is that a movie? What the fuck?
Do you know, right?
What is that?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey movie?
Wow, CV. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good. No, but so by the age of 25, we actually stop just picking up things. So we have to be intentional about now reading that book, reading that, looking at that podcast or whatever it is that you're doing, going to that conference, that seminar, taking that certification. Because as soon as I read that, I'm like, damn, I'm already well past 25.
Yep.
So I need to be intentional about that stuff. And I feel like we get stuck in these jobs. And if you're not learning something specific. What are we really doing? I think trends in general, they fall off really quickly, right? Like, perfect example of this is marketing. I mean, I like to identify us as, younger individuals, but the reality is I took a lot of marketing classes in college. And I know you did you do some marketing stuff?
Yeah, I wish, looking back, I wish I took more classes I actually cared about.
But that's tough though, because
for me, I was a finance major and I liked
Right.
finance, but I was more about the social part of college and then also doing my own businesses. So like I really had this bad thought of school because I didn't have great experience with teachers and like I was in big classes where I felt like I was wasting my time.
Yep.
Maybe
No.
it's maybe because I was a genius.
But I mean, I feel like, we in college, hold on, let me just get the start out and then jump on.
interrupt him.
No, it's fine. Marketing is a perfect example of this, and advertising, because the stuff that I was learning was like print based and different strategies for like print marketing.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's all like social media marketing. The social media existed when we were in college, but it was not nearly as prevalent as it is today. You take one social media marketing course, that will probably give you way more of an education than you got in 2008, 10, 12, whatever you went when you went to school.
Or just put a little money. Say you're going to spend, I don't know, $1,000 on a college course, right?
Mhm.
I would almost argue take $1,000 and play with advertising actually on Facebook,
Right.
watch YouTube videos and try things out, because the majority of the time, the stuff. This is part of the reason I don't attend these things
Yep.
is because I feel like if they're talking about it now, it's going to be.
But who has
a
money to
week.
burn like that though?
No.
'Cause that's-
I'm saying if you're going to spend anyway getting an education somewhere, I'd much rather see you actually try stuff out.
But what happens if, let's say, the course is
Well, you're trying to sell
$7,000?
something, right?
I
So
got you.
You could try to
And you
recoup
spend
it.
the $7,000 on trying things out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
What'd you say, 7?
I just made up a number.
Yeah. I was just wanting to make sure I heard you.
7,000,
Yeah.
And you go through the $7,000.
Yeah.
You spend it all.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't really gain that much from it. You
See-
just lost 7,000. I mean, you may have gained some experience, which is good, and that's good, but you got nothing out of it.
So here's the argument: if you're
So
gonna
what
spend
are you gonna do? Throw another 7,000 at it to now get more experience?
if you're gonna spend 7,000 on a course, you're gonna have zero experience.
But you're gonna have a degree at the end of the day, allows you to say, "Hey, let me fake it till I make it, so I can get more experience." And
It's different
But now I
approaches.
get a
That's not my
job.
philosophy. I think I'd rather learn with the 7, and I'd be way more ahead of this person. And yes, maybe I won't get the job of someone who wants the degree, but I'll get the job of something that I actually want to do, and the people understand that I know my shit.
but that's you
know what
because
I
you
mean?
have this level of understanding now at 30,
No, with
whatever,
anything,
after
with
a
anything.
college education. Think about if that philosophy when you were 17 years old.
So
were
yeah.
you that dialed in and what you wanted, that spending that money, whatever college cost
So
you?
I'll give you an example right now. I started to take a course for commercial because I wanted a certification. And I see the money I'm spending on this course, and I'm going to finish it because I started it and I am learning. But in my head, I'm like, damn, if I spent, each course is like $1,500, $2,000. Like if I took $2,000 and just put it into my own listings in the commercial world, I probably would have learned way faster. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the opportunity cost of that money, I'd much rather put into like the actual doing of it, because for me at least, I learn so much faster when there's actual real life applications and people are there's consequences, right? Like if I F up a deal, if I'm not learning, I F up a deal. It's a bad reflection on me. It's a bad reflection on the company.
Yep.
Like I lose the deal, I lose the client. Versus if I'm in theory doing this math problem for a fake lease, there's no downside. There's no pressure.
So when I jump into conversations like this, this type of stuff tells me that I just think differently, because I understand, and I'm not saying that it's a good way or a bad way. I like what Mike is saying, but I want to address kind of what CV said.
Well, it's a very conservative approach. So,
Yeah.
Well,
and what I
But
wrote down,
basically, you're saying about the $7,000, right? Like, because I'm not even thinking about that, right? If you're at that level that you're not trying to burn 1,000, 7,000, that's fine. But my head automatically goes to like getting your feet wet, right? What is
you
that
could do
course
something for
about?
free.
What is that course about? Can I commit to a 30-day process of putting on a 10-minute video to learning base knowledge to then after those 30 days say, listen, I want to take my money and invest it? I think it's really dumb of you if you just like an idea of something and you're like, oh, there's a course and I want to be a director of sales or something. Let me take a sales director thing for $7,000. I think that's dumb. Can you really see yourself doing it by putting practical time in, right, to then make the investment? So you were talking about a 17 or 18-year-old kid. That's what I would do.
so what I had written down when I wanted to interrupt you speaks to that.
Mhm.
And it's a thought. And I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, I think you guys are going to agree with it because it's basically what you guys are saying. it's almost like a belief that when somebody, and I'm gonna say a child because that's who education is geared towards, and as you get older, that's the process, right?
Yep.
If you have to go to work and you have to grind before education is even thrown at you,
Yeah.
I think you have a much more focused approach to when the learning comes around, which is what I was trying to allude to when you were saying what you were saying. So like, now your focus in your business and what you do is so dialed in.
You have alignment.
Yes. So now, yes, if you're going to
Because
throw
you've worked so
$7,000 at something, yes, of course you're going to be not only.
You've had structure. You've had
I,
habits.
Right.
I think it's a philosophy though, because I did this when I was like 12.
Yeah,
Like
but
I
that's what I'm
was
saying, and that's you,
trying
and that's
stuff
you, but
without
that's
learning
and
it.
that's
But that's
you
what he's
though,
saying.
and
He
that's
works
really
with
good.
a lot
It's
of
different
kids now.
philosophy.
But I do believe
I
though
think
that
there's multiple ways, right? Like I don't think the going and taking a course and getting your certification is wrong. If that's how you want to learn it and then apply it, like absolutely. I think the best way is actually to spend $0
Right. Correct.
and get your feet wet, like we're saying,
Mhm.
like learn something, maybe get someone to spend their money and test it out with their budget. But for me, you really don't have skin in the game, or you're not really learning until you have something to lose.
But that's why I
You know
made
what
the
I'm saying?
comment, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I believe that
Yeah.
if you like, let's use children, right? Because we're all adults, so we have a different kind of focus today than we did maybe when we were younger.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're alien, so it's different for you. Did you not always say you're alien?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I am.
If
Hopefully a nice
children,
one.
if children got put to work instead of going to school, because we know kids go to school, they don't like it, they don't. It's a whole drag.
Yeah.
Go to work. Go to work in carpentry, go work in plumbing, go work in advertising, go work under somebody,
Yep.
and really kind of grind it out. And they're not going to like that either,
Yeah.
because why do I have to work? But you're gaining a sense of maturity,
Yeah.
and you're gaining a real life now experience that's going to, if you like it, if you know that, oh, I really like sales, I really like this, you're really going to dive into liking every aspect of it. So then, let's say you do that 5-year work thing. Instead of going to high school, you do 5 years of working under somebody, and you're not making all that great money. You're just working. It kind of sucks because you're just working. But after those 5 years, your base knowledge on what you like is so formed that you're focused now. If you say, okay, now take these courses. Now let me just put $7,000 into, X, Y, or Z. That's going to be for you and for your business. I think
Yeah.
the approach will be way different, and the kids will be way more focused in that aspect rather than, going to the school, doing the whole college thing,
Yeah.
wasting all that money.
I think
you
it's
know,
all
that stuff.
personality.
I don't want to say
traits.
waste all that money,
Yeah,
but
I don't think there's a one size fits all for stuff like that.
I agree.
know?
And I think also now we should
But
shift
that's
it
a good
to the other side too, to adults in the game, right? Adults, because I think more young adults, if we look at our stat line of listeners, you're pretty much between the age of 20 and 45. That's where the majority is, right? So if you're 20, then that could be some good advice for you. But if you're 40 in the game and you've been at the same job for 20 plus years, it's hard to stay motivated, right? And I think what this continued educational piece does is it allows you to keep up with the new trends in your industry, right? People like to speak, oh, I've been here 20 years, I've done this for 20 plus, I've been doing this, that. Experience is good, but experience means nothing when you're not relatable today. And I think proper intentional training really adds to that, right? So it allows you to basically, because you could be competent after 20 years, but I think you can go from competent to excellent if you're strategic about the training that you're taking. And I'm not just saying a training or a certification in general. I'm just saying whatever industry you're in, being specific about, what I'm continuing to learn. For me, this is a lifelong commitment. If I'm working, I'm learning. That's for me. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. The same way I'll be working out until the day that I die.
My devil's advocate for that is what I've kind of noticed in the real estate world. My industry where I am is very trends on the older side. So there's people that don't use email and they're still
crazy.
crushing it.
Right.
And I'm like, how
Yeah,
good
yeah.
are they?
That's true.
And how well established can you be that you're like, you know what? I'm just not gonna
Because they
learn
have old
email.
school clients.
Wild.
Yeah.
So I think
Yep.
to your point, you are correct. Like you should aspire, but the people that don't actually need to, it's
Right.
very impressive, and it's a conscious approach where they're like, you know what, I'm not going to play these people on their home turf. I'm going to really take care of my. And again, it's strategy. It's a
Yes.
different philosophy. So
Mhm.
there's a million ways to do it, but yeah, I would say traditionally you probably want to stay with the times
Yeah,
and be on like the edge of things. you know?
100%.
Um,
I go.
I heard a really good thing that I think you'll like. It was UFC, coming full circle. But UFC I find very interesting because there's always something to learn. There's new techniques. There's a million techniques, but it all comes down to a one-on-one fight. and you have to use the right tools at the right time, right? So it's very, I think that's why I like it, because it's kind of limitless in that sense. So one of the best trainers, I don't know who they were talking about, but was saying that you should have someone in your training camp that is worse than you. It doesn't have to be younger, just worse in trying to learn, so you can teach them, and like subconsciously teach them. Someone that's your same level, so you can be competitive against them. They push you, and then someone who's better than you. So you, in whatever facet, right? So if you're a bad wrestler, you have a wrestler that's incredible. Right. You have someone who's similar and someone who's worse. And I was like, oh, that's super interesting, because you kind of think of the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that you're competitive with that you keep around. There's people that you are kind of mentoring, and then there's people that you're, you know, looking up to and trying to learn from. So I was like, oh, it's super interesting.
And I think, honestly, like some individuals like us, the three of us specifically, I think we mimic that in our own lives.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? You know, the
even
three of us,
right,
absolutely. The three of us, I would say, are on the same level, right? In terms of, you know, what our life looks like.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, our form of entertainment can be something that's a little bit below us, but that's because it's an entertaining aspect of our life, right? And then the betterment is when you're choosing to be intentional about putting something in your ear, like Ryan Holiday, that you want to be, right? You for photography, whoever that mentor is for you. Me, it could be, you know, my faith stuff. It could be Ed Milet. You know what I mean? So I think we're mimicking that, and that's very good to hear, because I think everybody can apply that same exact thing and figure out those three layers of your life.
Put a very good point someone brought up. I think it was your boy Alex Hormozy. Not Hormozy. Not Hormozy.
Hormozy.
He was saying that basically, like, and I've tried to limit my listening to him just because there's a lot of too much stuff and a lot too much tactical stuff that overwhelms me.
Yep.
But basically that I've fallen prey to listening to like a billionaire and then trying to act like them when I'm not within striking distance. So a lot of their stuff that works for them, I'm not there yet. Like, I can't spend money on a private chef, right? I tried to like get meal plans and things and like mimic it, but I wasn't there yet. Like, I try to skip too many steps and get to the end goal of like what I'm realizing, there's a lot of steps to get there. And if you try to skip the steps, the foundation of like what you're trying to build is shaky.
Yes.
So I got wrapped up when I was real busy in the real estate world, like trying to just kind of go from 0 to 10 versus getting from 0 to 1. And then now that I'm back to 0 building the company, I'm really conscious of like, I'm just trying to get to 1. You know, because my personality is very 0 to 10.
Right.
So I'm trying to constrain myself of like, all right, well, if we want to do a pop-up event, rather than do a food truck festival, which is maybe the 10, let's do a little neighborhood grilling at Scarpelli's, which is a 1 and very executable. So I've been very knowledgeable or conscious of that lately.
Yeah. No, it's good.
So when you're looking for that mentor that's above you, I kind of would argue, yeah, you can listen to the people that are billionaires and take inspiration, but the tactical stuff, try to get someone that's just ahead of you, because it's a lot more likely to be applicable to what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, and that's important with you know, continued education for sure, because I think it prepares you. If you use it properly, it doesn't even have to be. I do like learning things that I can apply right in the mix, and the certification that, you know, we're going for in our industry, it actually does that. But it also allows you to prepare for different directions and different opportunities within your career, right? So, you know, you might be able to. I know for me, I never really knew that I wanted to get into, you know, a public speaking aspect. I never knew that I wanted to be in local government. I knew that I wanted to sit at a position because I saw somebody at a camp when I was 14 years old, but it wasn't until I really started diving in and understanding what it was that they do on a day-to-day basis. And now I'm at the point, I literally was just having this conversation, that I'm talking to the county executive, which is, you know, the highest ranking position in any local government in a county. That county executive reports actually directly to the governors. On the state level. And I used to think I was crazy for wanting a mentorship basically by an individual like that, because I didn't feel qualified. And now it's to the point, I mean, I just had a great conversation with him that he's like, you know, yeah, we got to start preparing you for opportunities like that in the future. And that's only because I saw him years ago and his ability to public speak, his ability to, you know, be able to mend with any crowd that he was in. This guy, George Latimer, he's our county executive. And, you know, he's the guy that I'm basically going now directly after when it comes to my my career mindset. But you have to, there's levels to what you're saying, you know, whereas before I didn't feel qualified to speak to him. And now I can take pieces of what it is that he does. And he's actually very receptive to it because he's in, you know, he's at the latter part of his career. So why wouldn't he want a young, motivated 33-year-old commissioner who wants what he has, you know? And people are really receptive to that.
Yeah. And I think if you can rationalize to yourself for the grunt work, like if you, like rentals, right? Rentals are kind of a pain in the butt to do. And the way that I've been more open to learning more about it is like, all right, well, if I'm kind of having this conversation and creating the right lens, if I'm going to have these properties that I'm going to manage, I need to learn the ins and outs of all things rentals. So I have to be humble and do the $1,000 rental and not be worried about it. Right. When I am helping a client find a rental and they don't pay a commission, I'm not working for free. I'm working to learn. You know, I'm learning and earning, but sometimes you learn, you don't earn. But as long as you keep the learning going, you're going to get to the earning. You just got to stick with it.
It's pretty good. You can't actually
Bert and Ernie.
But you can't actually spell learn without earn. That's pretty good.
Well, there's an L in learning.
I know, but
that's what I'm saying. L. Think about it.
Pretty good.
There's like triple entendre there.
That's very good.
There's an L in learning. You got a bunch of dimes for that. But no, in the last 2 years, because of the lack of sleep, you get into this mode where you're like, well, I haven't made any progress. Like I'm still doing these small rentals. I'm still doing this. But if you look at it as like, I'm sorry, my mind's jumping around because there's a great movie. And at the end of the movie, it's called The Internship, right? Vince Vaughn. It's a great movie. Long story short, the end of the movie.
How do you know so many movies?
I love movies.
I mean, I think I found your issue, guys. You've wasted so much time watching movies.
Movies.
But hold on, because sometimes movies do give you inspiration.
Absolutely.
Do give you creativity.
Here's one.
The Titanic. I always wanted to fall in love because of the Titanic. You know what I mean?
So in the end of the movie, this guy, they basically do a competition to sell Google ad space.
Oh, by the way, hold on. Let it preface. The intern, he's older than
then
everybody
it's not part
else.
of the story.
It's a big one because he's okay. My bad.
Kind of. I mean, it is, but it's not. I don't want to tell the whole. No, that was good. Right? It's great use of it. But long story short, they're in a competition, and one of the teams gets like a big Google deal with like a massive company, right? Like a very corporate company, and then this other team gets a deal with a local pizza shop, right? And the guy who's like the bad guy of the movie is like, it's just a local pizza shop. Like, that's not going to create a lot of income. And then the main guy's like, well, it's a local pizza shop. That's going to be the start of a budding franchise. That's going to have 50 franchises throughout the country and grow, and we're going to grow with them. So it was interesting because he takes the approach of like, this $1,000 rental, I'm not saying you should be motivated by it, but it should get you up out of the bed because you don't know where the next deal's coming from. You should be like, all right, well, I'm going to do this deal as if this person has access to every millionaire in town, because they might, right? It might be someone's mom. It might be it might be them. They might just be getting a cheap rental because they have all their money like Elon Musk and Tesla, and they're just trying to stay lean. So not being humble enough and not having an ego and not think that I'm above things has kind of been forced upon me as I've started my own company, because at the end of the day, I have to stay in business. And although I'm trying to be strategic and not expand too far, I also have to realize, like, at the end of the day, it's very simple. Like, you have to help people find real estate, and you have to do it well, and you'll be around because it'll grow into other things. And although you don't know what it's going to grow into, if you're humble in the approach and not take small deals and treat them different, then you'll be good. But it's hard. You know, if someone asks you to clean a bathroom, you'd be like, I'm not cleaning the bathroom. But if you're like, well, you know, if I clean this bathroom and then the selectman comes in, you know, and thinks it's nice and clean, then you know what I mean? Like, if you can create this scenario that maybe it's false, but try to convince yourself.
Yeah, I like
do you ever do that?
Clean the bathroom? Yeah.
No. Do you ever take the small like things and make them into bigger things in your head?
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's how I live. And I try to make everything, you know, and as minute as it might be, I look at the bigger picture after I've accomplished.
But that's not common.
Goal.
You know, it's not common, right?
I don't. Do you think I'm common?
No, but I'm saying in
I
general.
I told you, I want to be uncommon amongst the uncommon people.
Oh, it sounds familiar.
You know,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, do you do that all? It's a hard exercise to do, but the more often you do, I think it's productive.
But now, why is that? Right? Like, why are you coming to that realization when working out is the exact same thing?
I think the same way about working out.
100%. But
yeah,
for whatever reason,
sometimes it's hard to implement.
I know you didn't attach that though to the same thought process.
So the thought is, and I'm very conscious of this, I have a certain amount of bandwidth, and I would say 90% of my bandwidth went to real estate for a long time.
Why do we make these choices?
What choice?
The choice is
Prioritize?
to not align all the things that are important to us to that same.
Because I don't think you could do it all at once. Like we talked about,
Yeah,
focus
I agree
wise,
with
I
that.
don't think you can get your whole life together in every asset or every facet
Yes.
at the same time. And we're moving targets, right? Nothing's perfect. So, like, yeah, if my kids never got sick and they slept all night, I'd have a 6-pack.
Yeah.
That's not the reality.
But
So,
theoretically, and this is
Yeah.
not a dig at you, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of taking this out of the page of Mr. Regina over here.
yeah,
You brush your teeth every day.
yeah, not well.
why
but-
do you? Why, not well. Why do you have the bandwidth to do that without thinking? And this
Because
is a
not
reflection
it's
on
not
me
a
too.
big
'Cause-
time suck.
Huh?
It's not a big time suck.
You take care of your kids, right?
I try to, yeah.
Okay. Well, how
That's
is it
a
all of
priority
sudden?
because they're a priority.
Yeah,
so
right,
that's what I'm
right.
saying.
You've prioritized certain things.
Yeah, but
though.
no, you're forgetting the biggest point, right? Because
is?
if I'm, the most motivated individual in the world, and I'm really inspired to do well, what happens when one aspect of my life takes a really bad turn? What happens if I get fired from my job, right? There's seasons. What happens if somebody goes through a divorce or a separation, right? There's seasons to where one aspect of your life might not be in alignment with the top
priority.
top of your mindset,
only
right.
because we brought up the working out.
Yeah.
Theoretically, working out is beneficial to our health.
Yeah.
Right.
If we are not healthy, doesn't matter what we're going to do because we're not going to be healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
So theoretically, you can align them as that's a
No, but
huge
you
priority.
asked why you're not in alignment. I think your intention can be
I
in
think I'm
alignment.
in alignment. It's just the execution.
Yeah, right, but
isn't
that's
perfect.
the
the point,
intention can
you
be in
know?
alignment, but it's physically impossible, kind of like you're saying, to have all things running in cylinders at the top level all the time, because there's going to be different seasons where different things happen, right? You lose a pet, you lose a family member, one aspect of your life drops extremely seriously, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can still apply it, to the other things in your life, but it's going to take time for that one to now trickle back up.
So yeah, I think it's
No?
I'm not making excuses, but I think at least for me, it's the acknowledgement of all the pillars. And if I keep focus on the pillars and don't adjust based on, what's going on in my life, certain nuances, I'm realistic in like the last couple years have been kind of chaos, and it's not going to be perfect to get through it. But if I feel like I made progress on the other side, it's a win. You know what I mean? Like so for example, the real estate stuff, I literally canceled all my memberships, canceled cable, canceled the gym, canceled everything, spent as little as possible so I didn't care about the diet because I was trying to save money so I can do this new career. So maybe that's a fault of mine that I kind of went all in and sacrificed like health things short term.
No, I think that's fine.
But then
that
when I
season of your
realized,
life.
I'm like, all right, well, because I focus so much on this is actually hurting me now. Then I put a little attention to it and started to bring it back up.
Right.
When it was too, like if your pillars are too off kilter, the roof is too crooked and you're going to slide off the stool, whatever.
Mhm.
So like that, at least that's been for me. And now that I'm older and I have the kids and I have the requirements, yeah, it would have been great to have this done prior, but I have new variables that I'm accounting for.
Yeah.
It's like a new math problem.
So my comment backfired a little bit because
No,
the,
no,
reas-
that's
the reason I brought
It's a
it
good
up,
question.
the reason I brought it up is because last night I told you I couldn't sleep, right?
Yeah.
And when I woke up, all I kept thinking about was work. And it's annoying. It's one of my pet peeves now that I can't detach from work.
Yeah.
And no matter what, it was just ruminating, and it just kept coming around, coming around, and I couldn't stop thinking.
Yeah.
So I started talking to myself. Now I'm like, well, why is it that you can't put the same energy into something that you want to do?
Yeah.
Right. And I guess to tie it into the education component,
Yeah.
why not? Why am I not doing all this extra thinking? Because my job is 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do. I don't have to do more than that. Yet I probably put in an excess of 80 if you think about all the extra thinking that I do after work, after hours, in the mornings, at night, preparing, planning, all this extra nonsense that, yeah, it's worth it to me because it's my job and I want to make sure that I'm always prepared in some capacity. But at the end of the day, why can't I, and this morning, why can't I focus on the things that I want to do? Why can't I be putting in this effort into this thing that I want to do instead of putting all this extra effort thinking about this nonsense at 4:00 in the morning when I shouldn't have to?
Well, that's a
Spending too much
skill,
time
right?
thinking, man.
But that's a skill. Like you
Right,
have to
but
work
it-
on that.
Like get up and go.
But that's the whole point, though, right? The whole thing was like I want to be able to
Yeah.
to focus on educating myself in this other avenue that I want to do.
Yeah.
But instead of being able to even reshift my focus, I'm just thinking about.
But what'd you do physically though?
I was trying to fall back asleep, to be honest.
Oh, so then if you're trying to go to sleep, that's different. But like, you know,
But I
this
couldn't.
this is exactly where people get caught up, right? Because it's like, why are you thinking so much? If that was different, and you're in a bed, so you're trying to go to sleep. So I don't think that's a really good example. But if you're having that thought, because a lot of people will sit there in the morning and they debate with themselves, and they're thinking about one thing, and then they're thinking about the other thing. But it's like, what action can you take in that moment? For you, if it was that continued education or whatever, like put on a physical video that's gonna align with
Something
what it is
simple.
that you want, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we spend this.
But that's a skill.
It is for sure, but like that's the issue, right? Like
Yeah.
we spend way too much time thinking about all the things when we should just take a small action and focus on one thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, I think that's kind of, you have to keep self-reflecting of like, all right, well, because I'm in a similar spot, right? I kind of dive into the business stuff and I overthink things and I think about them too much. And I kind of have a conversation with myself. I'm like, all right, this is all great. Like I enjoy what I do. You know, is my daughter adversely affected negatively when I'm on my phone when they get home from school? And I'm like, all right, well, it's not ideal to not be able to answer the phone for 2 hours, but what's more important to me? At the end of the day, when I die, you know, am I going to look back and be like, damn, I missed that phone call? Or am I going to be like, damn, I really wish I was more present at dinner? So like kind of getting deep on that stuff is how I've at least controlled that and worked on that, because it's still a struggle, because the day-to-day, right, you're probably thinking about it because you know the next day you're gonna have to deal with it, and because of that you want to get ahead of it so you can have more time, you know, to relax with your family. So it's like you'd rather relax now than in the future anyway, right? Like if you're going to be stressed anyway, might as well put it down for an hour, enjoy your family, and then come back to it. So that's been kind of something I've worked on, but it's hard. It's really hard because you, like Dave, have pride in what you do. So yeah, you could pack it in, but you also know that if to do it correctly, you need to spend a little extra time thinking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or no?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I have a question. When it comes to continuing education, what do you consider continuing your education? And I guess I'm assuming this is relevant to after college year,
Right,
after the formal
I'm
education.
talking about job-specific continued education, right? So where you're not required to do this stuff, but you're basically continuing your own education to put yourself in a better space.
within your field,
Correct. Within your job-specific field.
job-specific field.
And I think
So would you not consider continue your education outside of your job-specific field?
Absolutely, but there's a difference between personal and professional development. I'm talking specifically professional development in regards to your career, right? And the question, I think what you know, the intention is, and even what I see in not only myself but employees, is the continued education piece really builds an additional level of leadership skills. And I think leadership directly correlates to having confident employees. I think confident employees are enthusiastic employees. And I think enthusiastic employees are the ones that really can get the job done for the betterment of an organization versus just going to work, punching a clock, and getting the hell out of there. You know, the union mindset is a mindset, and if you choose to have that, that's not wrong. But for me, I've always wanted to go into an organization and work for the organization because I believe in the organization, right? And when you develop those leadership skills through the continued education, I think it all starts to play a piece. But I think that's the biggest reason as to why, me personally, I believe in, you know, continuing to develop your skills.
Yeah, I think of it too as like skill stacking. So like I wouldn't be able to learn certain things about commercial if I didn't learn certain things about residential, like a base knowledge of something.
Right.
And then when you go another level, then you become like more marketable, and then your potential earning upside increases. So some of the stuff that I like to learn is stuff that makes me more marketable. If I lost everything and was out on the street and was like, all right, how am I going to survive? If my skills I have would allow me to make, you know, money or a business or a lifestyle that I enjoy, then I think it's very valuable and it helps me learn things, because I'm not only learning it just for a job or income, but I'm learning it for like a lifetime of like a tool.
Yes.
Like
correct.
that's why like the construction stuff has been super interesting, because for me, like I have this vision of like my daughters are in my rentals in the future, right? Maybe they have a boyfriend, whatever, and they're like starting a life. And then I thought about how I call like my dad when I need something, or Dana does, and I would hate for her to like not call me because she's like, Dad doesn't know. And maybe I'm not the one doing the work, but knowing what's going on. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting, that's way down the line, but I felt very, what's a good word? Like, exposed or like very vulnerable in that area where I'm like, I should have a base knowledge. You know, I should not be able to turn the water off, like, you know, like certain things. Like a water heater you turn off mistakenly, you don't know how to get it back on. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I'm not saying I'm going to be like the next builder of America, but I enjoy learning stuff that I'm inadequate at, so that at least I have a base knowledge and I can't get advantage taken of me.
Right. Yeah. What did you have any follow up to any of that? No. I think, you know, when you're intentional about this type of stuff, I think it does grant you the ability, and the networking word can be very foo-foo, but I think when it's very specific to your job, I think it allows you to build your network, right? You know, if you're somebody that is just in real estate for the first time, or if you're in somebody who is in local government for the first time, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of some sort of event where you're going to be directly in the mix with 100 people who do the exact same thing that you do, right? And 50 of those people are probably going to be better than you. Well, if you're just starting out, probably 75 of those people are probably going to be better than you, right? And in the advancement of your career. So there's really no downside to it. I find this when it comes to management now, too. I don't really know one employee that has put this in my ear. So my advice to anybody would really be, like, put this thought process into your boss's ear if it's something that you want, because a lot of organizations, they will pay for you to continue your education, but I also think you should present that to your boss with some level of planning, right? It could be, for example, it could be career milestones. Hey, I've been here 5 years. Hey, I've been here 10 years. You know, this is the next advancement for me. I found this, you know, certification that specializes in blah, blah, blah. I want to take this, right? But I feel like we have all these great thoughts, but we don't clearly communicate exactly what it is that we want. If you're in sales achievements can be a level of, okay, look, I've just achieved XYZ. Now I want in return a level of training in a specialized thing, right? So just from my perspective, I mean, I've only been in that leadership role, 5 years between the two commissionerships, maybe 6 years. And nobody has really come to me and been like, hey, you know, I want this training in this.
Yeah.
Which is ironic when you think about it, because I'm sure everybody would take advantage, because a couple people now who we're doing this with, they're kind of excited about it. You know, but then also in return, I told them specifically, the reason why you're getting this is because you're at the best level possible. We want to elevate you to this next level. And if we can't do it financially, let's do it through continued education,
which is valuable,
to potentially allow you to then branch off and go seek other opportunities if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just a little, I don't know.
No, that's good stuff. The learning, that's also a skill. Like, a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this for certain deals, like some will come on the deal and be, I don't know. Versus like, oh, let me research, I'll get back to you. Right? Like when you get a little lazy, you're getting lazy. You're like, oh, I could find that out. I just got to go to town hall and like dig a little bit.
Yep.
And then when you do it, you're like, oh, this was so hot. I learned a ton.
Yep.
Here's the big thing about learning. I think a lot of people don't learn because they're afraid to ask, because they're afraid to look stupid.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Now, elaborate on the stupid.
So I have a perfect example. I went to town hall, and I've created a good relationship with the building department because I'm in there constantly, and I'm very nice to them, and like I'm very patient as far as like if they're busy, I'm not like a jerk, you know. I'm like, I get it, I'll come back, don't worry, like, you know. And they're super nice. Like, we've created a good rapport where they know me, they watch the food show, so like there's good. Other areas, very rude, right? There's another highway department I went in, and I was trying to figure out for a client if they could get a garage or a driveway in this property we were trying to put an offer on. And they were very condescending and rude. So I could see how someone would stop asking the question and just leave. And I actually know of an agent who I was dealing with that stopped asking the question, said, oh, I couldn't get the answer. And I realized that like he probably just left because they were rude. And I stuck around. I'm like, listen, I'm here because I don't know the answer. And that's why I'm asking you. Yep. So like, I'm sorry if I sound stupid, but like, I need the help. Like, you know, right? Like, you know your stuff. I'm asking you. And then she kind of like felt stupid for me saying like, I know I sound stupid because I made her aware that I feel stupid because you're making me feel like an asshole. And like, they were laughing and stuff. And I just was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if these people like me or not, but I need the answer.
Right.
And I'm trying to learn. So like, you're not going to get in the way of me learning this. I'm going to stick around as long as it takes and annoy you now, because you're not giving me.
But are you in the right department?
Yeah, 100%.
Because no, I'm just thinking from
100%.
You're talking about local government, right?
I am.
So if you're going to the highway department,
That in Greenwich that's for drainage, right? So
Yes.
the highway department works with drainage.
Correct.
Where if
but
you're getting
you
a curb
said,
cut,
can you put a garage there?
Which
that
is
would be the
drainage.
building department.
but because you need a foundation,
That's funny,
you
isn't it?
affect drainage.
You should have gone in there like, listen, I have a buddy who's in local government, and I know that you guys operate archaically.
No. So I actually don't have any ego to in asking people
Right.
where do I go, because I'm like
They
I
probably
don't
even know.
I don't know. It's
they
very
probably
confusing.
don't know. That's part of the problem.
And so I was talking to this woman. I'm basically like, all right, well, so let me see if I'm getting this straight. If you can get a curb cut, you need approval by the architectural review board, and then you do a drain. Like I kept repeating it back to her until she gave me a clear
Until
answer.
she gave you the answer, yeah.
Because as you know, in local government, they won't give you a clear answer because they
Right.
don't want liability.
Right.
So like in theory, they'll hit me with that. In theory, you shouldn't have a problem. I don't know what, but da-da-da. So like I just kept thinking back to like, man, like this is kind of nice because most agents wouldn't get this answer because
Right.
they're too embarrassed. I don't care.
Right.
Like you don't respect me anyway. I came up, you think I'm an idiot. So what's
Go
the
fuck
downside?
myself, man.
You know? So, but that's an example of like I've
Yep.
found in the past, I'm not afraid to look stupid has helped me learn a lot faster than I would have if I'd never asked.
Mm.
You know, like
Yeah.
I was with a client the
Very
other day. We're going to sign a lease, and I literally asked them like, "Hey, like I don't know, but like she got a severance package. So how do we put that in the document? And like, what would you recommend?" It's a little step, but being transparent about my client with them and asking how they would handle it and being upfront about it actually helped us get in his good graces. Where I was kind of ruminating in my head of like, I kind of sound stupid. I don't know how we do this, you know?
Yeah.
But that's all in your head.
Very good. Yes. Very good.
You have any instances where you were afraid to ask for like how to do something because you are in a power position?
I'm trying to think of something recently where I was scared to ask. No, but I've run into, what were you going to say?
No, I've had situations where I haven't asked for help. And
Yes.
it's shot me in the foot big time.
There's definitely been times. I'm trying to think of something, relatable now. No, I think recently though, like I have been more like you, like yourself. Like I really don't care if I sound stupid.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I kind of put that. I try to put that message forth now, and I feel like I'm taking a different approach. Specifically, we're going to go through some, I think, financial hardships. Where we work, and in the past, I have been nervous to relay that message to the staff because I wasn't confident in exactly what the impact and the financial impact would be. So I hesitated on that. So I guess that is a good example.
Yeah.
Whereas now, we just held a pretty large staff meeting where I articulated verbatim, really what the impact would look like. So I used to feel, I guess, I felt stupid because I had a lack of knowledge on a situation that would directly affect the team that's there. So that would be my example.
No, it's good.
Yeah, good ramble. My coffee's empty, man. So
And I'm freezing.
you guys have anything else before we wrap this up and get to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week?
I'll give you a pre-dime here. It's a good quote.
You didn't dime me though, man.
I'm pre-diming. I'm not ready for
Oh,
it.
all right. Yeah.
You never step in the same river twice.
Hold on, you gotta say it again and put the camera on him, man.
No, I want him to do that. Superimpose on your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never step in the same river twice. You know what that means? No, you're just never the same person ever. Like when you step in a river, right? The water's moving through it. The river's
'cause
different every time.
Gotcha.
Right? So like
'Cause it's a
life is
moving
like the
body of
river.
water.
So when you step in each moment, your past experiences, your future experiences, everything will change constantly. So you have to be able to learn and adapt. And when you walk in the river, even if you're standing there, it's different every second. So you just got to kind of go with the flow. It's good, right?
Mike's moment of
I
the
think
week.
that's what they meant.
That's good. Listen, I'm not even giving a dime after that one. That's fire. What?
Yeah, you
Why'd we
give a dime.
promise- why'd we
Give her your
promise to?
mediocre dime after
No,
that
I think
bomb.
we're good. I think we're good on that. Listen, I'm feeling generous though. So if you've made it this far, let's give away a hat.
Oh my!
Right?
What? Do we have
Listen.
that in the budget?
Yeah, listen. If
Talk
you've
to
made
the-
it this far,
talk to the finance
send us
guy.
a DM. and say, I listened to the section where you're giving away a hat. I want that hat.
And repeat the quote back to me.
Yeah, repeat Mike's dime back. No, yeah, I'm feeling like let's give a hat away. All right. So anybody who stayed this long, hit us up via DM. We'll take those people. We'll choose a random winner, and we'll send you a hat.
Tomato.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Verbatim.
Yeah.
No. So as always, Michael, let them know where to shop, please, my brother.
NoSnoozeshop.com.
It's ingrained. It's literally ingrained in my brain.
Got to shop at the shop.
Guys, as always, we thank you, whether you listen to one episode now or 140. Fun fact, I randomly listened to episode 70 of the No Snooze podcast featuring CEO Beef Brody of Tactical Baby Gear.
Shout out
Great
Beef.
episode, though. What a really good episode. So if you're just searching for a random episode to sift through, go to episode 70 when the boys went down to South Carolina to check out Tactical Baby Gear.
Speaking of, can we get a tan filter on this thing?
I know.
I am bad. Here.
Right?
I look
Listen,
like a gray alien.
I know. Don't worry. It's coming soon. But until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
I need to go hit this tanning bed, but
I need to go step in a river.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.